All right, welcome everyone. We'll open this meeting call to order. Before we go anywhere else, is there anyone here for public comment?
Can I ask a question? It's a redundant question again. So, just in, with rental cars and the parking situation, I mean, I park over there. I'm not complaining about that. Ava's parks in the front row. But then when we have a flight, we pull the cars up. Now that's kosher because every other airport, again, we don't do that. But then we post a sign that says, we're going to tow you away if you park there. So, are we towing away? I mean, the old terminal, National was there, Avis was there, Worley's came along, so it's like, okay, you do it, I do it. So then City Cab does it, then Big John does it, and then, the customers can't come and pick up or drop off because the terminal's full in front of the curb. So, I understand it. It's, 30 below. Yeah, we start your car up, we pull it up, that's a nice thing to do. Or we park it in the first row, that's a nice thing to do.
Customer service. Yeah.
Right, customer service, doing customer service, but any other airport you go to, you walk to your car, rental car. Some places you gotta take a bus, because it's a big airport.
Thor, is it an issue there? Or?
No, not that I see at this time. We can certainly work together. That's a non-issue. I mean, we can. It's easy. We'll make it work. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Anyone else? All right. We'll move on then to the minutes of December 30th.
Move to accept the minutes.
All right, we have a motion by Walt. Is there a second? We couldn't quite hear that. Someone make a second? Second. Second, everybody? All right, we got a second then by Brian. I couldn't quite hear that. So, all right. Any discussion or questions on the minutes? Hearing none. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
I think they're just talking to each other.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Financial statement. Okay. Anything, Kyra, that drew your attention? Or?
Oh, I'm sorry. So for the total unpaid bills, there's $878,878.19 in total bills. Nothing really out of the ordinary. The only one that we haven't paid before is the Jeremiah McCormick one. And that, I'm assuming, was for some repairs and whatnot.
Yes, on the storm equipment, correct.
Otherwise, all the bills are pretty standard. We did pay 2 of the bills to UHL Company for the boiler. Then we have runway phase 2 unpaid bills in the amount of $40,059.95. And then runway phase 3, the start of the construction engineering portion of the constructor for the construction there in the amount of $68,065. And then for bills paid prior to the meeting, there's a total of $7,572.20.
on the financials.
Okay, we have a motion?
I'll second.
Harley second.
Was that Harley? Okay, thank you, Harley. So we've got a motion and a second. Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
3-year contract proposal given to the commission by HM Craig. You're certainly under no obligation to, accept that, but just a reminder that it'll be good to have somebody stay on top of the generator and maybe perform some annual services to it. But we'll leave that there.
Hey, Steve, just one more thing on that. If you look further up in the notes, the HM Craig was supposed to provide the commission with testing protocol and kind of what they're supposed to be doing on an annual basis. Has that been delivered?
Not to me.
Yeah, I think that is certainly something we had asked them to do while they were there doing the additional repairs and load testing, is to do some in-service, with Thor's folks or Ted or whomever. If that did not occur, we should follow back up with them. And, at this point, it can certainly, I would imagine, just be a written listing of what are, the protocols that should be put in place annually to review and test that generator. Okay, any other questions regarding the generator status?
No?
Let's move on then. Again, we've got some folks on from Thermal Solutions that can give a much better, accurate, update on where the boiler repairs are at. The background on this is certainly, everybody's aware, this is, I think, heating season number 4 that the boilers are now into. Boiler number 1, for all intents and purposes, has worked beautifully. Some, miscellaneous minor maintenance repairs on it, but generally speaking, boiler 1 has been good. Boiler 2 has never been good. It's never, ran consistently. It should be a modulating system so that boiler 2 certainly does, get used, but boiler number 1 does have the capacity to heat the terminal system. Boiler 2 essentially is your backup boiler. So the concern certainly has been over the past heating seasons without boiler 2. Should boiler 1 go down, certainly there's an issue with trying to maintain heat within that building and at high risk of certainly damage. There's been many things done to boiler number 2 in the past. I'm not going to go through and rehash all of those things, but I will ask and turn it over to David and Blaine to give you a better update on the current situation that they are there. I believe yesterday doing more repairs on boiler 2,
And today.
in hopes that and in hopes that this is maybe the 4th time's a charm. Let's kind of go from there. David or Blaine, you want to give some updates?
I'll go ahead and start. This is David Allen, and I'm the sales director for Thermal Solutions Sales Company, and Blaine is the regional that covers the Minnesota territory. I was going to start with what our team is up there doing right now. As some of you are aware, the internal burner support ended up getting. They determined that there was a crack there, and that has been replaced. And the team has successfully completed that option and is moving forward. They also decided that it would make sense to just go ahead and replace some of the other components some of the wear components, and that's kind of what they're waiting for right now. They're waiting on a gas valve to swap out, and I think that will take place. I think as soon as it arrives at the airport, which I believe is supposed to be about 10 o'clock your time today. So at that point, they should be able to handle that. I think that something else that they were able to do yesterday was that they were able to do some training with one of the local service techs, I believe that works for Shannon. I believe that's the name of the firm, but that's what I had in the notes. I'm assuming that's one of the firms, and I think that they said that they spent well over an hour and a half with him or her, and working with them to be able to work on our unit as best that they can and moving forward.
Yeah, that is correct. It's Shannon's Mechanical. And I did talk to Dean Pekarsky at Shannon's, and he confirmed that. He sent his best boiler guy over to work with your crews and, understand what was happening and train him more, since he really is kind of the go-to nearby person or company that can help out the airport on watching over the boilers.
Okay, good. I appreciate that they were able to allow some time to work with our guys there. I'm definitely hopeful that repairs that are being done today are going to bring this unit into a successful situation similar to what you've got with Boiler 1. I do know that our company is deeply committed to supporting this unit and supporting the airport moving forward, as I hope that you feel that we've been trying to support you as long as the unit's been there. I can assure you that I spoke with the president of the company as well as his boss this morning, and they were saying that they would be willing to extend the warranty on this unit for another 5 years if that would be acceptable to the airport and the team, and we would continue to support this and do whatever we can to ensure that you have heat from these units. And it's just it's definitely been a tough situation that we've kind of between the coronavirus and then we also made a rep change, and unfortunately that probably slowed down some of the reaction time that we dealt with previously. But all that, I mean, obviously the coronavirus isn't behind us, but we at least now are finding ways to get out and do what we need to do, and we want to make sure that we have we're able to treat this unit and keep it functioning as it should be. But I mean, that's the basic message that I was wanting to bring along, and I'm definitely open for any sort of questions, and Blaine is definitely an excellent resource for those kind of questions too. So,
any questions?
If I may, this is Thor, the airport manager. Brief history, well done by Steve. Also, at least four events, sand events. I think actually the number may be a bit light, but that's okay. Just to hit that home, it has been 4 years. With all due respect, it's been a total nightmare. We have done our very best as the airport authority, and working with all entities involved in the equation. Efforts have been put forward, no question. In the last 2 days, they've sent a tech directly from the manufacturer, and we're working closely with them, with Shannon's, and to the point that we're even intercepting the packages coming off the aircraft to save that time frame between the package and the truck and the delivery, etc. And so today is a reminder that we're minus 32 today, whatever it is, and thankfully the single unit is quote unquote carrying the load sufficiently. I appreciate the discussion, sir, regarding the 5-year warranty extension. That would be greatly appreciated. I think I speak for the group with that. Having said that, to put it in automotive terms, we have changed the tires, the engine, we've changed the air conditioning unit, we've changed all the computers, we put new glass in the car. We have done everything, and what the group is being told is, with all due respect, we've been told for 4 years we're just going to change this, we're just going to change that, it's the gas valve, it's the board, etc., etc. And so, with due respect, I'll certainly say that I'm relatively pessimistic. If this is the final fix, which we hope and pray it is, that'd be wonderful to bring it up to speed and have the 5-year warranty out, and we appreciate that very much, sir. But man, I would suggest to the group that if we don't quote unquote get it this time, I'm not sure where to go. I'm very pessimistic.
Anyone else? Is it David?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, David and Blaine. You know, it is kind of ironic that it is 30 below here today, and here we are, you know, with one dependable furnace, and I don't know what we would do if we lost that. You know, this building would be in tough shape, and I think we've been very patient. You know, this thing is the lemons for some reason. Yeah, the number one has been working fine always, but the number two is just, there's something wrong with it. And I guess I'm just wondering, rather than, wouldn't it make sense to replace it completely?
It probably would have. Go ahead, Blaine. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to jump in here and kind of piggyback on some of the stuff that the manager there had commented on as well. Obviously, we understand that kind of that frustration, and are sympathetic to that, right? I mean, this is the business that we're in, is making sure that you as the customer have heat from a product that we provide, right? And we stand behind it and are proud of the products that we make. You know, in this situation, it has been, you know, to say that lightly, a nuisance, not only on your guys' side, but ours as well, of trying to figure out what the problem, you know, ultimately is, but trying to provide the correct solution. Now, it's been 4 years to try to get to this, and we feel comfortable that this would be a solution that will help you guys and shore up both of these boilers. I don't want to speak out of turn from what David may be saying next, but, you know, again, you know, us providing that 5-year extended warranty is to make sure that you guys are not left without heat for any reason, and you know, and to continue to support that. And if that moving forward is what that looks like for you guys, is, you know, hey, if this fix isn't it, you know, then we come back and rehash that out and come to a consensus on what we offer next, right? On top of what we have as a 5 year.
And we discussed the situation about this fix, and we're hoping, like I say, that this is going to be a way to move forward, and there'll just be general maintenance moving forward on this unit. Obviously, if this fix doesn't work, then we're going to have to figure out a more drastic fix for the situation. Now, whether that's another boiler or whether that's something else, I don't know. I can't answer that hypothetically. I mean, obviously, we've kind of bounced it around, and I suspect, based on some of the information that Steve was giving me last night, I suspect that that's probably been a topic of discussion on your end as well. So I'd like, if we could get a little bit more time with what Kevin and his team, the two gentlemen that are there from our plant, to see if this is going to make that unit work. If we could get that into play and move forward with that, then if for some reason this does not fix it, and then I definitely think we'll be discussing a different solution.
All right, fair enough. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Any other
Yeah,
comments?
and I would like to finish up on that. I would encourage you guys, and I think you guys probably already know this, but for at least probably the next 30 days, especially when you guys are in this really cold snap, to make sure that boiler 2, is the primary boiler running, to make sure that at least in the next 30 days that you're not going to have any faults or see anything arise from that, and we can be all comfortable moving forward that that it's going to do its job.
And that's a good point. That's exactly what we've done in the past repairs. That we've made number 2 the primary carrier.
Excellent.
Thank you.
One more comment on this. This is Bob Coors with SCH. Can you provide us with an email or some documentation around the 5-year extended warranty from
Sure.
this point forward?
And would I send that through Steven or would that go through someone else?
You can send it to Steve. That would be fine.
Okay. All right.
David,
try to have
Elaine, I think that's a really a good update, and I know, like I said, you haven't walked away from this thing. You certainly have engaged and re-engaged, and it is very much appreciated. As we did speak last night, I think the next steps in terms of, should this not take care of the situation, I guess I'll be frank. I think it would be our recommendation to the commission to engage in legal action then at that point. Or have Thermal Solutions give the assurance that a new boiler will be provided. I think really that's the 2 choices. They've been very, very patient for, almost 4 years now. So that's my take on it. I would add maybe that moving forward, certainly, it's really good to put that into primary use over the next 30 days once these repairs occur. And I don't know if anybody understands, or you guys can help explain a little bit what that's going to mean, and then how do we go back and I mean, do we leave it that way, or do we go back to putting primary on to number 1 and modulate the system through the controls package to, then, because I'm curious to see what's going to happen then, right? I mean, okay, fine, it's running as primary, but now we subtract the number 1. How does it modulate? And let's watch what happens at that point to be sure there's not a flame loss, early in run.
Yeah, you have 4 years of catching up.
Right.
Literally.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you put it into and this can be done either from your guys' control package or on the boiler's lead lag system. But if you set it for runtime hours, obviously it's got a lot of runtime to catch up, but it'll still rotate after a time period in which you guys put in there, whether that's 24 hours, whether it's 48 hours, or whether it's 30 days. And so if you set it for 30 days and then so that it runs as primary on that boiler 2, it'll run that 30 days and then it'll alternate to boiler 1. If at that point, then you guys want to put it back into your general rotation of, if you want to alter those every 24 hours, I would encourage to set that back to that at that point, and then let, the 2 switch back and forth, and then we monitor that again for another 30 days, right? And make sure that that's going to do as expected, right? You being the customer, so as you expect it to run, make sure that it does that for another 30 days after we get to that point. And then, of course, if it doesn't, then we're at those, the next steps. I would hope that you would at least come back to us with the option of, we're going to replace the boiler, and then if not, right, then we take legal action.
Can you contact your team and tell them exactly what you just shared with us, that the way that you want that cycle set?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, we can definitely get that information to them and have them set it up that way.
Thank you.
Anything else?
I was going to add, this is Steve again, if there's any support or help that you all are looking for from the controls package or the controls folks, which is UL Company, UHL, certainly let me know. We can put you in touch. David, I think I forwarded you Garrett Miska's information last night to contact. But, they can certainly, they have remote access to the system, so they can help in programming the control side should you need that to occur. It seems to me it'd be good in this 30-day, watch over, if you will, it'd be good to touch bases again. Maybe we could do another conference call and see how things, went over those 30 days. I think the next airport commission meeting is, I'll assume, scheduled for February 24. Might be good to check in on Monday the 22nd or Tuesday the 23rd as, an update prior to that commission meeting.
Okay. Well, do you want to set something up now, or do you want to send something out in a week or two to kind of make that happen?
We'll go ahead and set it up. I'll send a conference call, a WebEx meeting for, how about Monday afternoon, the 22nd, right after lunch, about 1:30 Central Time.
That would be fine with us.
Okay.
Thank you, Steve.
And yeah, you're welcome. And lastly, we did forward the third invoice. I think Kyra mentioned there were 2 other Int'l company invoices that we recommend payment for, which would be non-warranty, sort of standard wear and care maintenance work that Int'l provided for you. But there's a third invoice, David, I forwarded on to you that Int'l company's troubleshooting time associated with this boiler number 2 past issues. Is that something you may have not have had a chance to digest that? But again, is Thermal Solutions willing to go ahead and contact Int'l company, Garrett, Niska, and talk that through and get that taken care of as part of this boiler 2 issue?
Let me look at it. I did not have a chance to look at it prior to this. It's likely that we will end up absorbing that, but I'd still need to review it before I definitely say that it's a 100% done. But I will let you know later today after I go through it and talk with a few people inside.
Understood. Yeah, just let me know if there's anything you need from myself, or I'm happy to help put a conference call together with Garrett if you wish. But you've got his contact info at this point, so feel free to reach out to him directly as well.
Okay, I definitely will. Thank you.
Well, David and Blaine, this is Wade again. You're a lot nicer than Steve said you were. I'll say that.
Getting me in trouble, are you?
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Well, please continue.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. I don't think David or Blaine has anything further. That was a great update. We certainly appreciate you calling in, and I thought it'd be best if you could just give the commission your update directly instead of third party through myself or SEH. So thank you again.
Thank you, David.
I
appreciate the opportunity. Okay.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks, everybody, for having.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
I'll continue on then. On SEH's update memo, the next item, number 3, the 11-month punch list, and kind of, the remaining item on that list is a continued nuisance, what we believe is a condensation issue that's occurring where the 2 roof systems butt together from phase 2 to phase 1. That's an insulated SIPS panel roof, and we believe there could be some insulation issues between the 2. Again, we do not believe this is a roof leak. We have had Hammerland TNT Construction out of Grand Rapids, who were the performing contractor at the time that constructed, the roof systems, both of the roof systems. And you may recall we've already previously last summer went up above the customs detention rooms and added additional rigid insulation to the underside of that seam. We had hoped that was taking care of the issue, but it sounds like the text we received maybe 2 weeks ago or so, Thor, from you or Jake, mentioned maybe there's some additional dripping that was witnessed during a recent warm-up.
That is correct, Steve.
So I'm not sure what's happening with that right now. We want to certainly dig into it further. We also had recommended that we would set up a drone flyover, if you will, with a thermal camera about now during a cold time of the year, of the winter, and see if we could understand, how much heat loss might be coming through those two roofs as they come together. Give us a little more pinpointed information. Is it a little further upstream on the slope, for instance, which I'd be surprised at because, again, Hammerland also opened up the tongue groove boarding in the customs waiting side that has that tall exposed ceiling towards the air side. And they inspected everything there. It looked great. So they put the boarding back. But we will continue nonetheless. What would help, Thor, if you could, there is certainly an FAA permit and clearance required to fly a drone at an airport, and our folks in Minneapolis have that drone and will submit that permit. But they've asked if you could help provide just a quick letter of support, expressing maybe from your perspective the urgency of trying to get this done, so it may help get that clearance a little sooner with FAA.
Certainly. Chelsea said and Sean said they were going to help me with that.
Fantastic. So if that's something we can put together, I would like to try to get our folks up there with the drone in the next couple of weeks. Typically the permits could take anywhere from 3 to 4 days to maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks. So let's see if we can get that done. That would be very helpful.
If you could CC, please remind me and CC Sean and Chelsea, and then we'll get that cooking as fast as possible.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item B on the list, the jet bridge. We have been working with the Ameribridge to come up with some sort of a different type of cover that would cover the gap between the bridge section and the rotunda. They have provided us a drawing that we're reviewing. They were initially thinking they would want to be here late January, early February. I thought that would be odd to try to work on a roof at our coldest time of the year. They've now agreed. They sent me an email last night that said, I think late March, early April would be a better time frame. So we're going to keep our fingers on that pulse, look for some warmer weather, tail end of March, early April, keep coordinating with the Ameribridge, get that roof taken care of at that point. And if everything, comes through that we agree should be a good fix, we could then recommend release of their final retainage dollars that the commission is still holding. Any questions on that?
No.
And Bob Coors, the last item, or Sean, is the closeout documentation on phase 2, working with FAA and MnDOT to review, change orders to understand what percentage they may allocate to each change. That is ongoing. Bob or Sean, I don't know if you've got any further updates on that.
Yeah, we have been in contact with the FAA, and they are, everybody's engaged on it, and we're pulling together the documentation on that to get those submitted.
And that's my update. Any further items maybe that we're not aware of and should be tracking on, or any questions on everything we've just went through?
Cover it, Thor, you think?
I know it's online, but the other thorn or lemon, the fireplace.
Yes, it's on my report. Yeah, and we're still waiting for parts on the fireplace repair. We're still waiting for the company is a relatively small company that supports it, and they're shut down still with COVID. Or they're restricted.
It doesn't work at all, is that?
It's the binder for it's about it's phenomenal. Very complex system.
This is Brian Briggs. There's also we've had that issue with the PA system, and a few weeks ago SkyWest came in and replaced phones and said the biggest problem you have is that the PA system was through our old phones, and he had to leave 2 of the old phones there because of the PA system. So we really need to take a look at the PA system because it shouldn't be going through the phones according to the SkyWest phone guys. So he had to leave 2 of the old phones there, couldn't replace.
Okay. Steve, got any recommendations? Bob?
My recommendation, Bob, would to have the electrical engineer Nathan Reet dig into that further.
Yeah, we do have to engage Nate on that if there's more issues there. So I will reach out to Nate on that.
Thank you.
Thank you,
And then
Rob.
Brian, should we reach out to you as well?
Yeah.
I'll probably
That'd be
probably
great.
get a hold.
Yeah, that helps to
Okay.
communication.
Okay, Kyra, can you provide me with his contact information?
I sure will.
Okay, thank you.
Do you know it? Do you know it? Do you know it?
Who the hell is that?
Maybe I could just ask, in addition to that, how is the quality of the sound on, the speaker placements and the added speakers we've done, and all the work that we've tried to do in the past on the PA system? I mean, is the clarity okay?
It's still one of the biggest complaints that we have is the clarity of the sound system. And the phone guy, he seems to think the reason why you have that clarity problem is because it's going through those old phone systems.
And the problem with the speakers is they put the speakers like in my back office, and what's the purpose?
That's where they are, right?
There's a speaker in my back office. If I have the door closed, you can't hear it. And why would you put a speaker there? So I can hear the announcement? I don't need to hear the announcement. Thank you. But I'm just asking the question, so.
We had that issue in the beginning too, where it was coming through in our office, and they were able to shut it off because it was coming through the fire speakers or something like that, the alarm part. So they shut that off in our office.
Yes, the PA system is set up to, frankly, piggyback or use the same fire alarm audible speaker systems. And, that's a little bit of why you're seeing speakers in what, seemingly might be an odd location, but it is there for a reason, and it's really primarily for fire alarm and audible purposes. So, I appreciate that input. Go ahead.
Steve, you looked at my speaker before in my back office, and it's not a fire alarm system. It's only a speaker.
Yeah, but I think it is still part of the fire alarm system. And that's exactly what I think Nate should help dig into and look at and understand, because that's a very good point from Laura, is what, why do we need this here? It doesn't do any good.
I would say
So, Bob, it would be, yeah, go ahead.
A little reminder that frankly, from day one, the PA system has been, shall we say, subpar. There has been Band-Aids added to it, and things have been rearranged and changed, etc. But I would think that we're still in if that's the number one complaint, that's something we need to address.
Right.
That makes people uncomfortable. They don't
Very
like
much
that.
so.
They shouldn't. They shouldn't have that experience.
Right.
Okay. Well, Bob Kors, maybe we could set up a separate conference call with Nate and dig into this further.
Yeah, I'll look into it with him.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you. I will sign off and let you guys continue on with your other business items, but we'll stay in touch, and Thor will work together with you and SEH on a letter to FAA so we can get the drone flyover done on the building.
Of course. And Steve, once again, we're very happy you're back. Glad your help is back. Wonderful.
Yeah, appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Of course. Thank you.
Thinking about you. All right, we'll move on then. Who's Sean? Is it Sean next? I don't think your mic is on, Sean. You're muted.
He's a pilot. That's an issue.
He can hear us.
You're up, buddy, John.
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. I think I'll start.
Oh, good. We got to talk to you anyway, Chelsea.
Yeah. No, we can't talk about you anymore.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, so I guess we'll start with the runway updates. Phase 1, nothing has happened in the past month for Phase 1. We're working on final acceptance and some punch list completion items in spring of 2021. So hopefully after we get those things resolved, we'll be able to close that project out. Any questions on Phase 1?
No.
Right. Jumping into Phase 2, we did some clearing a couple weeks ago. They cleared about close to 10 acres, and that was required to protect the approach surfaces for the temporary runway that we're going to have for next summer. So they got all that clearing completed. It was in wetlands, so we had to do it in the wintertime. Everything went really smoothly, to my knowledge. Or you can jump in.
That is correct. It was a typical Uland interaction. Seamless, beautiful.
Yep, that's what I heard. Is it went quicker than we expected, and everything went pretty smoothly. So the ground was in the right condition for us this year. We had some issues last year because the snow insulated, so much better this year with how it froze and the snow wasn't insulating. I believe you guys already considered the pay application number 10 in the amount of $40,016 for 95 cents. Okay. So that's for the clearing that just happened. I believe that this the local share for this is eligible for the reimbursement of the bond as part of the bond fund. But this project is under budget, and we should be completing this one after final inspection in spring as well. One other thing to note is, if you haven't heard, we did get the MAPA award, the Minnesota Asphalt Paving Association Paving Award for 2020 for key airport category. So, kind of cool. It's a really good project, and Eula did a really good job. So, it was awesome to see that one.
Led by the SEH engineering team.
Yes. I don't know if you want to jump in for weather balloon, Sean.
Yeah, Chelsea, we were actually wondering if you voted here because you lived here most of the time last year.
I thought about it. No.
We pulled the trailer out there for you this year, Joe. We're waiting.
Oh, great!
Yeah, Ron was excited to get back up there too to do some clearing. He missed it up there. Weather balloon facility, no updates on that project. We're still trying to wrestle a change order out of MnDOT for some lighting improvements. It's been kind of crickets with them, but we'll stay engaged and try to get MnDOT to engage on that. And Chelsea, if you want to cover phase 3 quickly.
Yeah, phase 3, we did do the pre-construction meeting on Monday, January 11th. The meeting, this is of our pre-construction meeting. We're going to have another one closer to construction, but it was attended by us, the SH team, and the airport and county and the contractor. The meeting went really well, very good coordination early on, which is great. And we're excited to get that project started this summer. It's going to be a big one. So it'll start in late May 2021, and I believe it ends in early November is when our project is set to end. So kind of a long project this summer / fall. And one thing that we are working on is the temporary easement for the temporary fence on the Spillday property. So we'll work with the attorney on that.
All right, thank you, Chelsea. One just update for item 5 in the memo. We have fundings and grants update. Kyra and Thor and the SEH team were able to meet with MnDOT to review the bond application for this upcoming grant, as Chelsea acknowledge that, everything from when the governor signed the bonding bill, all those expenses as part of phase 2 and phase 3 are eligible for reimbursement as part of the bond fund. So the local share goes to zero. So we're very happy to see that, and that the legislature was able to pass that bonding bill. What that reminded us of, and why we had the meeting with MnDOT, is that phase 2 ultimately was hoping for that bond fund support. Didn't get passed, and the bonding didn't get passed until well after the project was mostly complete. So we are working with our legislative staff to see if there's any opportunity for retroactive reimbursement. Typically, they don't like to do that because once they do it for International Falls, they have to do it for about 40 other communities, and it kind of opens a can of worms for the administrative folks that have to deliver that. But it can be corrected via legislative action. We'll see what your representative and senator would like to do with that information, but that's actually being discussed at the legislature. The fallback plan, and Kyra knows this very well, that MnDOT normally pays a project at 5%, in your case 2.5%, and in anticipation of the bonding bill, they decided to make it 0%. So they were banking on the bond funds as well. They have indicated that they would consider going back and completing an amendment of up to $400,000 should any sort of retroactive bond reimbursement not be available. So I think we have a kind of a fallback plan to help the airport commission with reimbursement of up to $400,000. And this is all for phase 2, the work that's already completed. So retroactive in that regard. So I think it's good news. We're hopeful that we can use the bond funds for what they were intended for. But working through legislative language and the statutes that were put forth in the bond language, it's a little bit difficult to amend. We'll see what we can do, but at least we have that fallback plan. So I'll pause there and see if anyone has any questions.
We had actually the county board. We had a discussion with Representative Eklund and Senator Black yesterday, but this didn't come up. We'll stay in touch with them too.
Yeah, they're certainly good supporters for your airport, and have been there in years past. So I would expect that they would help any way they can.
Very good. Questions?
The next item is CIP updates. Casey will give us an update on those.
Good morning, everyone. So we are tracking several projects for the 2021 CIP. One kind of newer addition for consideration is a plow acquisition. We've been having some conversations with Thor on the existing equipment kind of nearing the end of its useful life and really needing replacements. We're working with the FAA to add that in as a potential CIP project for this year. The other item is the building area planning study with the weather balloon facility relocating to the new location. That really opens up a lot of new area for development. But you need to have the ALP updated to show kind of what that building area development would look like and have the planning in place. It'd be a smaller planning study, but getting that done, and that would really look at, not only the building area expansion, but it gives another opportunity to look at the apron area for kind of more in the general aviation side, tying in the fuel system. And I know there's been some conversation about potential SRE building and other kind of more building area type needs. So it's a good opportunity to pause and do that planning and, really having that, opening up the conversations with the FAA to build their support for your needs on those items at the airport. The other item, go ahead.
Well, just a question so I don't forget. Have we done a wetland evaluation there of that old weather balloon area?
We did, yeah. When we did the environmental assessment for the runway reconstruction and the property acquisition and relocating the weather balloon facility, we did do a field delineation as part of that. So we do have that information.
Okay.
And it is one of the only upland areas that we have to work with. So it's good to use that for building area development, hopefully here in the near future.
Yeah, few and far between.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep, The other item is the ARF truck replacement, and we've been working with Tracy Schmidt at the FAA to hopefully work on a waiver to be able to replace your truck with a similar sized truck instead of the smaller truck that typically they would provide to an airport of your size. And we did submit kind of our waiver request package, and the Part 139 certification inspector responded, and he'd like some real life tests of response times and some of the action or the items in the waiver. So we can coordinate with Thor on some of those things, and we're kind of getting that package in back to the cert inspector this spring.
You received the latest information from Mr. Haney reminding the inspector of his own words. Did you see it?
Yeah, he sent me a text with a photo that the. Yeah, you can explain it, Thor, but I didn't send it on to Casey and Sean yet.
Oh, yeah, our safety inspector, he is not being, shall we say, very supportive at this point. It's interesting is he runs a two-edged sword, which we expect from this gentleman. And what he forgot is that, and we have the email chain, that he highly recommended that we go with the size of the truck that we have now, etc. He promised to support it, etc. And then, as anticipated with this particular, shall we say, personality, thank you, he likes to exercise power and authority and control. Did I say that? I did. And I'm being generous in my assessment. No need to respond, SEH, you guys are cool. Anyway, yeah, so it's, as always, dealing with this particular person is, shall we say, challenging. And if I may jump in also, a brief update on the truck, 96 model, et cetera, and we are literally repairing the truck as we speak, and unquestionably the parts or the support for the truck, as far as parts support and technical support is getting more and more difficult, unquestionably. Yeah, and to kind of remind the group, we are an Index A airport, okay? And overly simplified for the sake of the conversation, a number, Sean, 5 years ago, let's go with that number, for whatever incredible reason, the FAA decided to downgrade the requirements for the truck from, in essence, from, I don't want to get too far into the weeds here, but from 1,500 gallons of water and 250 gallons of foam and 450 pounds of dry chem. They reduced that to something, help me, 300 gallons of water. It's virtually nothing. It really is. So we have attempted to get the greatest amount of life out of this truck, and have been successful, no question. But it is concerning that parts and support is becoming rare and rare. So working with the SCH team, and they've done great work, just trying to justify that we would like to stay on the same index we're at now. Okay, it makes no sense to go to a smaller vehicle.
Just the opposite of the way they usually operate.
It's incredible, it really is. And to remind the group, other airports have been successful at this quote-unquote waiver.
Yeah, Thief River Falls was successful last summer when they submitted their grant. It was their year to get a new ARF truck, and yeah, they went through the same process and were successful with a similar
key element, different inspector.
Yep.
Thank you.
So we will continue to work through the requests and get the information submitted that's been requested, and work through that process to hopefully get buy-in for that Index B truck. The other item potentially for our project this year is the 422, the crosswind runway rehabilitation design. So more likely they would be only a design, not the construction would come at a later year. But the FAA has kind of expressed an interest in doing that project prior to phase 4 of 1331. So we'll work with the FAA on that. There is one item, we'll just need to coordinate with the ADO on if, I think when the last consultant selection was done, the thought was that project would come later, beyond the 5 years, after 1331 is complete. So we'll work with Kyra and Tracy to see if there's any additional consultant selection requirements that need to be done prior to moving forward with that project. And then we just are tracking the potential projects for 2022. So SRE building design, GA apron lighting, 422 reconstruction, and then the auto parking rehabilitation. Still plenty of time for flexibility in both the 2021 and 2022 projects. Maybe one item of note, last year, obviously the projects were 100% because of the CARES Act funding. There is some new stimulus that's been released for airports. The actual amounts by airport is not out yet, but we expect International Falls to get another kind of infusion of CARES Act-like money that would be for operational expenses. So I think we should be hearing more in the next month or so. I think the transition in administration has just delayed the distribution of that money as they're trying to figure out how they're going to do that. There was not 100% funding for projects included in that funding package, but there is ongoing political conversations talking about the value of that. So potentially that could be something that could come forward here this spring, but so far that is not on the table for funding for this year. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that they're able to plan for that for this year. Any questions on the CIP items?
No.
All right. We do have, just tracking some of our meetings that we've had for the public involvement. Sean mentioned the bonding meeting we had with MnDOT to talk about both the bond application as well as general MnDOT funding. And then we have set up recurring meetings with MnDOT monthly to talk about items related to the bonding. So that next meeting is coming up on February 10th, and hopefully those will be good recurring touch points with MnDOT on that. So I think that's all we have for our updates, unless there's any questions for the three of us.
Questions, comments? All right, thank you. Appreciate
Thank you.
We'll move on then to old business, I guess. We have any? Okay, new business, airport insurance policy renewal.
That's always fun. Yes.
So I got a renewal from Carrie, and this year there's a 12% increase over last year. So I did ask Sherry for an explanation as to why the increase and whatnot.
Did you say 12%?
12%.
Wow.
So the total goes from $8,893 to $9,982 for that annual policy. They said most airports are actually seeing a 20 to 30% increase over last year, so our 12% is pretty good. We're sitting at.
You say what's driving that?
The Kobe Bryant crash was one of the main things because that cost them billions of dollars. So that's probably the biggest thing they said. But they also said it takes about 3 years to level out or see rates going down. So
in the meantime, we all pay for it.
Yes. Yep.
And they're playing the COVID game too.
Right.
I've always noticed that the largest buildings in any big city are actually insurance buildings. They get the most money. They can't lose. All right. Any questions on that then? So we need a motion on that, right?
It doesn't hurt, yeah, to have that.
So, okay, we've got a motion by Walt.
I'll second.
We've got a second discussion. Go ahead.
Is there any reason why we don't check with another insurance agency?
There isn't.
Okay.
Where they got a sole lock.
That's the tough part is there's only basically one company that provides the coverage.
What a racket, huh?
So they can charge what they want, basically.
Yeah, no competition. Most government had to set that.
If you're in the FBO business and you're supplying the fuel and you're providing the service to the aircraft, it's insane.
How bad?
Yeah, 62,000.
Potential, right?
Yeah, 62,000 a year.
That's great.
All right, well, that's a good segue into the manager's report.
What I'm saying is take it. I'm sorry. That sounds pretty good. I'm sorry.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
And that was an aye? Yeah. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, everybody. Sorry.
Yes, please. First of all, welcome Mr. Murray to the group. Great to have you here.
You'll have gray hair.
I'm sorry?
You'll have gray hair like the rest of us.
Or any hair, huh?
I was going to say.
Mine falls out, yours is turns gray.
It instills great memories from your dad. He was always a great mentor, great friend, great supporter. Very, very nice people. Yeah. Tremendous.
Thanks.
Need anything, please call 24/7. We're here to help you. Please, great.
Thank you.
As usual.
Well, by the way, the meetings were always interesting with your dad, too. So.
Oh, goodness. We'll then get to my dad and his dad together. That was always kind of a unique.
Yeah, there were some stories.
There was some stories there. Yeah, belly gunner, 17.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Marine. Amazing. Great stories. Fantastic. As usual, SCH, that whole team makes my job so much easier. Fantastic. Can't say enough for the award, for the paving award. That's it's a very reflection of their efforts, and I'm a very small part of that equation. So congratulations, SCH team. Wonderful. Just great. Most of my report is covered through the meeting. Again, I just can't emphasize enough great decisions with the furnace, with the boiler. Literally, we have. I'm just reiterating. I think it's a good. The group's going in a good direction, but I would also highly recommend it, quote unquote, this time. If this time it doesn't work, I would just really suggest just the next letter comes from the attorney, and we're done with this. It's literally, this has been years, and particularly in the last 6 months, we're being, and it's really interesting to talk with these quote unquote folks on the phone regarding this issue, because they literally tell us every time. If you just replace this, quote unquote, I'm 99% sure it'll work. And that's literally 20 fixes ago. Okay, so, we're taking parts off the aircraft in the next half an hour, and we'll get it right to them. And I didn't want to share this. I didn't want to put too much poison in the water at the beginning. I wanted to keep the train moving in the right direction. We were literally told yesterday, okay, with the first group of parts, we got it. This is going to work. 2 days ago, we know this is going to work. It didn't run 6 hours. So today we're hearing the exact same story. It literally is exact. These parts are going to do it. And I'm totally honest with you. I have serious doubts. I hope. We'll see.
One concern I have is, what if it does go down and the place freezes up, then who pays for it?
Exactly. That's the question.
And I am losing sleep over it. It's not. I've talked with Shannon to come up with a contingency plan. Literally, how do you circulate air? In a building of this size with many rooms, how do you keep it from freezing? I mean, you obviously can't let it freeze.
Oh, obviously no. Yeah, it's just like
Takes some logistics. Getting the
Logistics.
BTU fan.
Sure.
Gallon propane tank and hoses.
Yeah, maybe I'll call the same folks that are executing the vaccine distribution. Yeah. We can have more planning, right? Yeah, we can. I'm sorry, it's a personal concern. But anyway, But anyway, again, thank you for the whole group, and again, Mr. Murray, welcome aboard. Thank you. Oh, Sean, you still there? MnDOT Chelsea, not our Chelsea, contacted me yesterday. Did I send you the questionnaire she threw out a couple days ago?
We did receive that, yes. Yeah, we're working on it.
Cool.
Happy to help.
That's it. Thank you. Let's get any questions. Oh, good.
Thank you, Gordon.
Thank you.
Secretary's report. The person who really knows what's going on.
Yeah, the brains of the operation.
Employments are in the packet for the full year of 2020.
Not very good, is it?
No.
Compared to, I couldn't believe the previous year. 11,000.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's crazy. Not just us though either. So, gosh, unreal.
That's really all I have, other than we have had a change of commission members today, so we'll do election of officers at next month's meeting.
Good. All right. Anything else?
If I may retrace for a moment regarding the employments and what's happening, I don't know if the group has seen that now the Canadians are even talking about the possibilities of even tightening the border, quote unquote, more. So the Health Minister of Ontario is out there, and of course, this facility lives and dies at the border, literally. And now with the battling going on back and forth with the Keystone Pipeline, etc., and Canada's asking for, I think, 1 million more vaccinations, etc., and all that's playing in this political mess. It's not a good outlook right now, frankly.
I was talking to Senator Blackman. We're talking. You know, he and I have
certainly.
You and I have the cabin. He's got the one in the lake north of us.
Yes.
And, he hasn't been able to get there either. You know, he said the same. He just doesn't see a lot of good things happening in terms of opening it up.
Did you see the stats on the vaccinations in America? We are a tad over 1%. Okay, that is criminal.
Yes.
Okay, I don't care. I don't know who to blame. I really don't care. It's absurd. How can that possibly be?
Even here, I mean, it's really tough to, especially with the two. You know, you got to have the second vaccine.
Right.
You got to make sure you've got that. You know, coming. It's frustrating.
Well, it doesn't do any good to get 100 million doses out there, and you can only do 1 million because you don't have the people to administer.
Exactly. The whole thing is just unbelievable.
But I'm getting mine tonight. So.
Are you really?
Yeah. I got called yesterday.
Nice. Good for you.
Helps to be 67.
There you go.
Well, I should have got mine first then.
Does it help if you looked 75?
Well, you know, I'll kind of give you somewhat of an update.
Sure.
Aggressive at our hospital yesterday. It is a total nightmare so far as how they're putting this out. We were told at the hospital here, we were told we're not going to get any because it's just going to the big guys, Essentia, Sanford. Boom. And then all of a sudden, before the meeting's over, just got notified we're going to get 300 doses here. You know, you don't know when you're getting them. So how can you come up with a plan of how you're going to administer it? So that's why they're making phone calls to people that patients that have been through the hospital and the clinics, you know, using the providers to say who needs this, and so they're making phone calls because if we don't use up 90% of that 300 doses within 72 hours, then they'll just chop us off altogether, and then we'll go to the bottom of the list to get more doses.
How are you going to plan to get 300
So how
doses
do
in
you know,
21 days for the second one?
Yeah, you know, so.
1949, New York City, there was one case of smallpox. At that point, of course, the United States was totally fearful and justifiably of smallpox. And in 1949, they inoculated 6 million people in 30 days. That's a long time ago, ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
So theoretically, shouldn't we be like at about 4 times that speed today?
You would think so, right?
Don't you think we'd be like a lot better at this? Like,
Yeah, especially in the computer age.
Right.
Are they guaranteeing the second round?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are we done so we can go?
Yeah, I already told it I got to be back there February 24th to get my second dose.
All right. There any other business come before the group here?
Is there any news about the Laughlin flags at all, or nothing at all?
Nothing's going to happen to that unless Thor and I can come up with a plan.
exactly. Yeah. But also the Canadians, right? There are a lot of
But it's not going to do us any good to sit down and do it until
Correct.
that border opens up because
Absolutely.
you're not going to have the people in. Right?
Exactly.
Next meeting.
Canadians,
sorry.
Canadians aren't happy either.
No, they aren't. Not now, particularly.
That when they're in lockdown.
All right. Next meeting, Kyra.
Tyra, when's the next meeting?
24th?
February 24th. It is.
Does that work for everyone?
Yep.
Thank you.
Same time, same station. All right. Adjourn will be in order.
So moved.
We've got a motion. Second.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. There we go. Passes unanimously. Thank you, everybody. Good seeing you guys.
Thanks,
And girls.
Thank you.